towards paddock and up towards grid.
Hello everybody, Suffolk Andy here. Woman thought I was talking to her, look. They must think we're bloody daft talking in these things sometimes, some of these folks. Yeah, Suffolk Andy here. Well, I think chalky white dog shit sort of brought back a lot of memories for people, I think, in the past. And, you know, eyes all toilet paper and Frey Bentos tinned pies. But, yeah, quite enjoyed that one, I must admit. Can I just say a couple of little things? Skeggy Cruiser, mate, frickin' 500, you are a fucking gem, mate. But I've got some advice for you. Just watch out for that missus of yours now, mate. She's on that bike. You don't want her getting too good. She could burn you off, mate. Oh, yeah, well, you send her my regards and tell her, well done, girl, you know. I love to see women on bikes. It's one of my real loves on biking, to see women riding bikes. Wish there was more of them. And I watched a video this morning as well from Brit Ninja about fixation of when you're on a bike, you know, in a tight sort of situation and whatever. And there's not many of us can say what hasn't happened to us, because of theirs. And I can honestly say that was probably one of the best videos I've seen for a long while, boy. I'll tell you, so informative from a young lad, you know. Good advice. I think everything you said in there was spot on, son. Really was. Well done. Anyway, Captain Cranky, mate, I love the bike. You look like you're really enjoying it, and well done, mate. You know, it was nice to watch that video. I've been waiting for that one to come, and really, really did enjoy that. I hope your missus is feeling better from the chalky white dog shit, and you know, the oisel and all the rest of it. But yeah, I hope she's fine. Shouldn't laugh really, but yeah, I was sitting there this morning, and I was just going through the general news on Visor Down, you know, and they were talking about bike sales in the country and a couple of other bits and pieces and stuff, and they were saying on there that bike sales are, you know, are not brilliant, but some of the biggest sellers now are scooters, and they're taking over from the bikes. And one of the manufacturers that were really, really struggling was Suzuki, which you think, oh Christ, you know. But then I read down, and the Bandit is no more. It's not going to be sold in this country. They decided to withdraw it. Lack of sales, I suppose. I don't know. I know the old bike is a old bike, but the Bandit is a iconic bike, really. You know, it's the Swiss Army penknife of bikes, as far as I'm concerned. And I must admit, all the years I've sort of rid a bike, I've never rid a Bandit. Never had a Bandit. I've had Suzukis, but not have had a Bandit. So I can't really tell you much about them, but I was quite shocked to see that they were withdrawn. Apparently the is it the 12250 is still going to be sold, but it's actually not called a Bandit. I think I got that right. I hope I have. I know if I haven't, some of you lads and girls will tell me right. But yeah, the Bandit is no more, which I'm sorry. But I did have a little experience with the Bandit a few years back, actually. I used to be a professional photographer, and I used to work for magazines, mainly men's magazines, I'm afraid to say. And I had the job of doing a spread for a magazine on the quickest nitro powered Bandit in the country, and the quickest ordinary Bandit in the country, which were used for drag racing. And of course I had that terrible job where I had to have two half-naked girls on the back of the bike and all over it and that. So it was quite a chore to do, you know. But yeah, that was the only sort of thing I ever had to do with the Bandit. Another little thing about the Bandit, there's a guy who runs one of the motorbike shops in Ipswich where I take my bike to be MOT'd and that. And he said, oh, I used to have a ZZR 1200. He said, friggin' mental bike. I was like, yeah. He said, but I've got a Bandit now. And I said, why? He said, because he said he reckoned for touring with the Fair and Bandit and whatever, it's probably one of the best touring bikes because he reckoned his missus feels safer on a Bandit than she does a ZZR. More comfortable. And he did tell me a story where he went ripping down the road on a ZZR, and when he looked, she'd gone. She'd fell off the back apparently. Old Bergman over there, or Turdman, whatever they call them. Yeah, so yeah, I don't really know a lot about them, but I think it's a sad old state, you know. And there was another little bit in there, and I don't know how true this is, but they're saying that even Suzuki themselves could pull out of the British market because of the sales figures are not good right across the range for Suzuki at the moment. I don't know if anybody can elaborate on that or whatever. Sorry about the coughing, I've still got this bloody hacking cough, but there you go. Yeah, so that's a little bit of sort of news I read off there today. If you want to read it up, it's on Visor Down on the net. You can read the whole story yourselves. So, and there was another thing on there. Do you know? I never knew. And this thing, do you know? I think I'm not going to do one of these blogs where I'm fucking taking the piss or talking about bike. I'll just talk about bike stuff today, what I've read and whatever. There was another bit in there about crash helmets in America. Now I never knew that some states in America you don't need a crash helmet, and some you do. And it's quite a big debate over there, and I know I've got subscribers from America, and you boys can fill me in this if I get any of this wrong at all. And remember, I'm only a Brit, I'm not 100% sure on all this, but this is what I read, so you'll be able to fill me in if I'm wrong. In some states, yes, you can wear a helmet. In other states, you don't have to. Well, it seems to me, reading some of the letters that had been received, the Americans, you know, they've got this psyche. And the psyche is, how can I put this? And I don't want to upset anybody at all, because I'm not taking the piss out of you American boys at all, American girls, in the slightest. I do admire, and I'm sort of sucking up now, but I do admire a lot to do with America. And I don't, you know, want to piss you off, get this wrong. But it seems to me it goes back to a thing between the federal government and state law. Now the Americans have always had this thing about state law and federal government. It's in their psyche, it's in their mind, it's in the way they think. And a lot of people in states don't like federal government telling their state what to do. So when the federal government says to them, you know, you've got to wear a crash helmet, it's not the fact that they're, you know, sort of, it's good for you because you have a crash and you ain't got a crash helmet on, it could be deadly. It's not that. I think it's more in the psyche of the person saying, no, I'm not doing that because you can't tell me what to do. You're the federal law, this is state law. And it's embedded in them, it's part of their psyche. And I know some of the American guys will fill me in if I'm wrong or wrong. And if you look back at certain stages of the American history, you know, say, I don't know, the War of Independence with us, you know, they wanted their freedom, fine, nothing wrong with that. We were in the wrong there, and imposing taxes on them that were, you know, unpayable and all the rest of it, and they wanted their own way in life, and that was right. And then if you go to the American Civil War, now I'm getting into the mire. You know, I've read quite a bit about the American Civil War. It's one of my sort of, you know, I'm a history buff, so it's one of my little history buff things, you know. Anyway, when the American War started out, it wasn't so much about slavery, I don't think, and this is only my opinion, you boys will tell me if I'm right or wrong. I don't think it was more about slavery at the time, it was more about state law. The federal government telling the states what they could do. and the slavery part of it was short them out. The slavery part was only brought in later on in the war, when Lincoln thought he was losing it a little bit to the southern states. I might be wrong, I might be right, but I think you know, it's what it was all about. So this psyche of the federal law telling you what to do in a state is in their mindset, and I don't blame them, you know, because you know, in this country we have to do what we're told. If somebody passes the law in London, us in Suffolk have to do what we're told. I'd love to see their faces if we said, no, you're not telling us what to do in Suffolk, we want to do what we want to do. There'd be so many different changes. So that's all I'm going to say on that one. Nice loads of cars today. And the other thing is, you know, the other day I done a video of me going over the Orwell Bridge. And if you watch that, you notice it was a slow, laborious task. It's like that all the time. Well, that is a 70 mile an hour piece of road. You never hardly get over it at 70 because the lorries are trying to overtake themselves on the slope up and whatever. Well, in our paper today, they decided that in January they're going to drop the speed on the Orwell Bridge because they're having too many accidents and clogging up the town. Now, most of the accidents don't occur on the Orwell Bridge, they occur on the run up to it. People trying to overtake lorries, lorries trying to overtake them and getting themselves buggered up. So anyway, in January they're going to lower the speed, and they're not really sure. They wouldn't say how much to. They said could be 50, could be 60, and put average speed cameras in on the Orwell Bridge. Well, you know how I feel about bloody speed cameras. I've done a vid on that, one of my very early ones. And, you know, most people in the paper, in the comments, have all said, you know, it's ridiculous. Put chevrons in. Stop lorries overtaking on the approach. You know, this sort of stuff. Put these things up that says, you know, watch your distance and tried all that first. But no, it's straight to the average speed cameras. What a load of wankers. Really are a load of wankers. It's just a cash cow. They know they're going to make money out of it. But the point is, why don't they think of other things before they do it? It seems to me any little problem round our roads, it's a speed camera. And there's been no bloody accidents up there, you know. It's all on the approaches. But no, straight to the speed camera. It's caused quite a debate here, you know, of the things. So that's another little bit of info on there. And I thought, you know, I always do a little bit of humour or whatever. So I'm going to tell you a little story. Now I hope I get this right because, you know, it was a long while ago when I done this. At the club I go to, one night they was they had a DJ there who was going to do a disco and he got ill. So they asked for a volunteer for this huge great party. Well, Muggins here, being I was on the committee then, stepped forward. Yeah, I can do that. I can, you know, play a few songs and whatever, put a few discs on at that time. So I got the job. So I got up there and doing me DJ thing, you know, spinning the discs. Anyway, I got the speech time, and the bloke come up and said, you know, he knew me. He said, Andy, he said, can you do me a favour? And I said, well, what is it? He said, you know, it's my missus' 40th. No, I think it was 50. Sorry, mate, it was 50. You know, it's my missus' 50th birthday party. And I was like, yeah. He said, can you do a speech for me? And I said, no, don't be stupid, do it yourself, you know. It's your missus, ain't mine. He said, but I'm too nervous, I can't do it, I'm jetting myself. And I said, okay then, I'm going to do it. And I got up there and I said, right, I'm doing a speech for, his name was Bill or Ben or something. And I said, yeah, I've got to do a speech, he's too nervous, blah, blah, blah. Got up there, started doing the speech. Well, I thought to myself, well, I've got to do something a little bit sort of different. I can't just go up there and say, congratulations, you've got the 50, you know, he loves you dearly. So I thought, well, what I'll do, I'll tell them the difference between men and women at 50. Be the best thing, wouldn't it? You know. So I got up there and I said, you know, when a man gets to 50, he knows it. Because certain changes happen. And all you old 50-year-olds and older, you're going to know what I'm going to tell you now. I said, the first thing is, he starts getting hair grow down his nose. And the next thing is, it comes out of his ears. And so his eyebrows go friggin' nutty, they go everywhere. I said, they're everywhere, they're spraying out like bloody, like no tomorrow. I said, and the old prostate, start fucking strangulating the old pipes. And I said, and you're taking half an hour to have a piss, you know, and all this sort of stuff. I said, your sex drive drop, you know. You can't run around like a teenager anymore. You're bloody basically buggered. So they're all listening. And I said, well, the difference is, though, with a woman when she gets to 50, the only thing a man can't do that a woman can do, and that's put their tits in their knickers. And that was true. So there you go. That's my difference between a woman and a man. Anyway, I'm not going to ramble on too much. I'm going to make a little cut off here because I'm going freaking miles out of my way. So anyway, that's me today. Words of wisdom, words of information, words of crap. And thank you to all my subscribers. It's growing all the time, and I really am appreciating it. Look at that for a turn from an old boy. Hey, didn't drop at that time. Oh, and I can get out in front of this one. Anyway, heading back to Ipswich on a lovely day. Oh, just one more thing. When I go to Scotland on Friday, I've had a bit of luck. My son said, Dad, he said, you know you like your keeping up with all your subscribers and all the other stuff on YouTube? I said, yes. He said, yeah, Dad, take my notepad. He said, it's all got the internet on it and whatever. Wherever you go, you'll be able to keep up with all the guys and girls vids. You know, you can sit and watch them in the quiet times when you're not absolutely pissed as a friggin' fart, which I will be. But you do get a little bit of quiet time. So I'll be able to keep up with your lads, watch them all when I'm in Scotland. Won't be able to make any myself, but we'll do. Anyway, rambled on too much. Goodbye, everybody. Suffolk Andy.